Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Coping.
Thank you so much for joining us on Coping. I'm Tre Tailor. Please know that we are streaming live on the TailorMade production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Not only will you get notifications as to when we go live Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council, but also on Thursday and Friday. Now, we also streaming live on the TailorMade production YouTube channel. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. There you will find almost 4 years of content, information, and interviews to help you cope with whatever you're coping with. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Now, don't forget, we would love for you to like, share, follow, post this information out so we can get the message to the masses. We are talking about All About Me in 2023. It's our series to help you get yourself set for the new year, physically, mentally, emotionally, and today, financially. Starlitt Miller joins us. She's a Columbia-based business consulting and workflow strategy to help small businesses run smoothly, scale quickly, and increase profitability. Thank you so much for joining us today, Starlitt.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So listen, I mentioned in the opening that you have your Columbia-based business, and then you also have Transity. Can you tell us about both?
Absolutely. So Transity is a startup. It's brand new as of birth in 2022, and is a tech company that will be the tool and the business intelligence application, the one source of truth that you'll need as a business owner, a non-accountant decision maker to know what's that next step.
Okay, so tell me how Transity works for a small businesses, because listen, you know, I have a small business and I've always kind of had my voiceover business, commercial business on the side, and then just did radio and television primarily. Now it's kind of the other way around. This is my primary business. So everything you just said, girl, is like Greek. You're gonna be I don't know what you're talking about. So tell us, just kind of break down kind of what that means for small businesses.
Yeah, so just some context about me. I'm naturally a problem solver, and Transity came about because I'm solving problems. So for the past 5 years in Starlitt County Business Solutions, I've helped through a service-based. We've helped through a service-based work with operational accounting. That's everything on the back end related to your finances, including your system. So where you're invoicing out of, what your payroll looks like, your billable hours, all the things that necessary to accrue your finances, to spend out your finances. What I found in that process and through workflow strategy of piecing together applications and tools similar to what we're streaming on right now to make sure that it all makes sense for you as a small business is that putting together these tools is not as straightforward and simple as the websites will tell you. So as the bridge connector, I've been a widget for the past 4 years or so, trying to make those connections so I can make it really, really easy for the non-accountant decision maker to make that next decision. So once I got into a fellowship program that allowed me to even think about starting a tech company, my question was, what has been the biggest issue or gap that I've faced as an accountant, as a workflow strategist, trying my best to help small businesses to really be tooled up and get that next decision. So while I've been really grateful to all the 60 plus companies that I've worked with, they've trusted me, they feel relief when they work with me. The reality is that I'm only human, and I'm actually not a tool or a widget that could be leveraged at any point in time. So therefore, there's a disservice if we don't have something in place that could work well with you at any point. So with Transity is not going to do your accounting for you. It's going to lay over all of your systems. So if you have an invoicing system that's separate from your accounting system, that's separate from your POS system where you're taking payments, that tool will connect all of those things together to aggregate your financial data, synthesize it for you, and give it to you in layman's terms so you can understand where am I today based on maybe the top 3 goals that you have. And then kind of like a GPS when you're driving in your car, it'll tell you how to get to your destination even when you're off route. So the goal is for it to be super, super simple. And where Transity is different from any other planning tool that you might see in the market is that it's for the non-accountant decision maker. It's curated for those that I've worked with directly, especially our creatives out there that prefer more visually appealing, more graphics, more designs, are really disconnected from the P&Ls and the balance sheets of the world. We've got QuickBooks Online. That's a huge company, but I can't tell you how many times I've talked to business owners and they just don't feel empowered by those systems. So Transity will be that system that's almost like your favorite consultant when you go to dinner with them and they're giving you your information, but you have great conversation. That's what we're building with Transity, is that tool that you can log into at 12:05 in the middle of the night and you're looking for this information. Maybe it's waking you up at night, and the system itself will be able to give you your information plus what's next based on industry specific data.
Awesome. Starlitt Miller joins us. She has a Columbia-based business, Star Accounting and Business Solutions. She was just telling about us about her new venture, Transity, and how it helps business owners. So which Connie, and you mentioned that this might be also for creative. So tell us who this would work for, Star.
So we're designing it for small businesses in mind, but what we're looking to see is who has the biggest gaps. We have a version of it for nonprofits because they have a really great need to see very in-depth detailed reporting. We're thinking about our creatives as well for that very reason. We're thinking who is the furthest from the numbers, who will raise their hand and say, I'm not financially savvy.
Right.
I don't really identify with numbers. All of those things in terms of your mindset creates a barrier between you and your financial information. So what we're doing is breaking the barriers for you to have access to this financial information, and creatives is one of our biggest target markets, especially in this content creators world where that's $1 billion industry and we have businesses popping up left and right. We were just talking about how the pandemic produced so many entrepreneurs. Now we're rolling into maybe year 2 of tax time, and now the liability around what you're building and generating is becoming a little more serious. The agencies are catching up to what you're generating, right? 1099s are going out. Sales taxes have to be paid. And as a business owner, you should be empowered, in my opinion, with this information at your fingertips so that you can make that next step. So because Transity is still pretty new, we've got an MVP platform that we're using. We've got a couple pilot programs going right now. So it's not ready for the public just yet, but we do have a sign up and a wait list. So we're toying around with going to market first for nonprofits or the creative industry. So for those that are in our pilot programs, we're building custom platforms for them to test out what makes the most sense to put it to market nationally.
I love this because, like you said, there are people who can do, and I think we're all like this, and we did talk about this before. Everybody has a area of expertise, and just because you're good in one thing and not good in another thing, that doesn't mean that something's wrong with you.
Right.
We get our gifts are our gifts, and just like our gifts are our gifts, your gift is your gift, and then you have your gift that can help my gift, and vice versa. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do want to make a point that if you are not particularly strong, and I'm not in the financial piece, it's okay. You don't have to be everything to everybody. There's somebody that has that gift, and just like you have launched up, you've got your Star Accounting and Business Solutions, and recognize, okay, this is getting maybe a little overwhelming, and I can launch something else or put something else in place so you can help more people.
Right. And I believe the best leaders don't know it all. They just know how to pull the people in place to sit around the table to make one well-rounded situation that is balanced. So I think the best thing that we can do is be honest with our own strengths and limitations. And you can't do that unless you spend time with yourself. So this year of, 2023 is the year for you. Yes. Be very clear on where you're not strong and find those people to fill those gaps. I've done that exploration for the past 7 years, and I'm continuously doing it, especially as a leader and then the CEO, and now someone who's managing people and now systems. It's very important to do that work. And the more that you can stand up and say, and I do this when I interview people that work with me, hey, here's where I'm not strong at. Here's what I need. What do you need? And to be able to communicate that is very powerful. And especially in your businesses, the more you think that you can do it all, the longer you're prolonging this process of actually getting to the point where you're building a solid foundation. And this is one of the things that I've preached with my clients over and over again. I've done a lot of rebuilding and fixing of financial infrastructure and accounting infrastructures because of these reasons. And it's okay to just start building. You should do and then figure some things out along the way. But we'll talk about mindset and what you're being okay with saying I'm not okay with it, or I don't really know, and finding those people. That's the biggest shift, because once you realize that and you're confident in knowing that it doesn't discredit where you are strong, then you'll be able to tool up with the right people in place and the right systems in place.
And you can only do that Yeah, and you can only do that when you're honest with yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Starlitt Miller joins
Agreed.
us. She's a Columbia-based business consulting and workflow strategy business. Her business is Star Accounting and Business Solutions, and she has recently launched Transity, which is another business that kind of puts everything that she does in an app, I guess, in a widget, so that it's accessible to you as a small business owner 24/7. It's a series all about me in 2023. And what Star just said is really what we're talking about, helping you get yourself set for the new year, physically, mentally, emotionally, and today financially, if you have a small business. What are some of the common mistakes that people make, Star, going into business? And what are some of the things that they can do so that they can prevent those?
Yeah. So a huge common mistake is commingling your funds. Right. So if you're a small business that just got started off on your own, likely micro, you likely have an LLC, maybe it's a sole proprietorship. So that just means, as far as the IRS is concerned, is that you personally are paying the taxes for your business.
Right.
And we have a business account, hopefully. And if you have a business account, if you're spending out of that personally, that's what's considered commingling your funds. And I'll let a lawyer talk more about how that'll just null and void your LLC. But when it comes to
Wow.
Yes. When it comes to an accounting standpoint and actually understanding your business financial numbers and having true clarity, that really muddies up the waters. And that's a huge, huge thing that happens. So the biggest thing I tell anyone starting out is establish your entity's identity. Get your EIN. If you want an LLC, great. Go ahead and do that and open up a free business account. Treat that business account as its own. If you need money from it, pull it out, cash, write a check to yourself, do an ACH withdrawal, and then do all of your personal financing and spending from your own account. The reality is anything you pull out is not an expense. It's not an expense. It's an equity draw. So it won't be accounted against your bottom line net profit number. But the biggest piece is to make sure you're not commingling your funds. That's a huge, huge thing. And to me, it's very simple. But it's very easy to, if you don't set up the structure initially, it's very easy to commingle your funds, especially when you're out and you're spending and swiping one card instead of another.
Yeah. And listen, and like you said, and then this is something I made a mistake of doing. Even if you have a business account, like you said, don't use it for non-business account stuff. I mean, I guess you can use it so listen, if you are, for instance, taking a client to dinner, use your business account. If you're paying for gas, use your business account. But I guess there's a fine line between what is a business expense and what is not a business expense. And you should be paying yourself, right? Start out of your business account into your personal account and just using that.
Absolutely. And again, just speaking from the perspective of a solopreneur with an LLC, you're likely not on payroll. So there's no W-2, there's no W-4 because your company has to have enough revenue to support your payroll. So you're pulling cash out of the account. That's called an owner's draw. And as you should be doing that. But if you're not doing that, spending it from your business account could create issues.
That's a big light bulb went off in my head, and I hope it did for you too. Starlitt Miller joins us. She has Star Accounting and Business Solutions and Transity. She's been talking to us about your financial health for your small business. It's our series all about me in 2023. We're helping you get set for the new year, physically, mentally, emotionally, and today, financially. Coming up, Star will rejoin us. She's going to talk about some of her work she's doing with the Richland County Public Library and how you can be part of that, some events that they've got coming up, and also saving, and also how she works with small businesses with strategy, profitability, and scale. That's coming up next on Coping. I'm Tre Tailor. Thanks, Star. We'll be right back.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hi, I'm Judy Gatson. As a news anchor, wife, and mom, I know how important it is to take care of our health. Part of taking care of our health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is a serious health condition and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. It's estimated that more than 1.3 million South Carolinians have it, and up to 90% have no idea. Take a moment to visit inittogethersc.org to take an online test to find out your risk of prediabetes and how to join a diabetes prevention program that takes the guesswork out of losing weight, eating better, and being more active. You can learn new ways to stay healthy and sustain those changes over time. When you join, you'll even get support from a trained lifestyle coach to help you set and achieve realistic goals. Go to inittogethersc.org, brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Thank you so much for joining us on Coping. I'm Tre Tailor, and we're streaming live on the Tailor Made production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and find out when we go live Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council, and also on Thursday and Friday. We are also streaming live on our YouTube channel. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button, and there you will find 3 years of information, interviews, and resources to help you cope. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. It's all about me in 2023. That is our theme for this year. We're helping you get yourself together financially, mentally, physically, emotionally. And today, Starlitt Miller joins us. She has a Columbia-based business consulting and workflow strategy business, and also Transity, which is the new program that she recently launched. And Star, we're talking about business finances today. And you recently had a artist in residence with the Richland County Public Library. Tell me about some of the work you're doing with them.
Yeah, so the Richland County Public Library is amazing. And I sound biased now because I work with them, but I've been a consumer of the library for years. So they have both an artist in residence as well as an entrepreneur in residence and a writer in residence. So what this means is that they're paying for an artist, a writer, an entrepreneur to be there as a mentor, provide resources and information to the community for free to the community. So they're paying for these folks to fill the space, to give their time, to establish programming and events and things like that. So I'm actually in January makes the 4th month out of 4 months on a stint for me personally, but the program itself will be around. So there'll be another entrepreneur coming into place. And the premise of the program for the entrepreneur in residence is to be able to be there in position to give mentorship, inspiration, and information to those who are looking to go into business. Maybe they're in business, they have a curiosity. There's no real strict parameters around who could meet with me. What we do is I have office hours every week, and it's either virtual, over the phone, or some are in person. And then I've also been hosting events once per month, again, free to the community. And although I come and each entrepreneur will come with their own expertise, there's a lot of general questions around how do I get started? The Richland County Library has a lot of community partners that has other resources. So where the library itself may not be able to directly help you, we can at least tell you and guide you on where to go and hold your hand at least to get to that place along with our community partners within Columbia.
Yeah. So tell us about your artist/entrepreneur in residence. And I do say, I think it is amazing that the library is taking the initiative to really help the community at large to get the resources they need, as you say, for free. These are great resources that are available for free. And it's been going on for some time now. So tell us about how people can connect with what you are offering and who you need to connect with.
Yeah. So because my expertise professionally, in the seat that I sit in, it comes from an accounting space, a finance space, helping on the back end. I tell everyone or anyone that I speak with, if you have a business, please schedule some time to meet with me because it's free to you. Whereas outside of this space, I charge a consultant fee if I'm even offering consulting work to do this kind of information, provide this kind of information. And I have a couple of community members that have met with me every other week to help with their QuickBooks Online platform, which is costing them nothing. So I emphasize that if you have a business and we have spaces available, QuickBooks Online, accounting, workflow strategy, setting up your systems, thinking through budgeting. All of those things are my expertise, and I'm available to you through this program. So I am the entrepreneur in residence. The artist in residence is separate. Outside of that, and for the events, we're having one, and our final one next week on the 12th. It's a part 2 to what we had last week, but it could still stand alone. So I invite you to still come if you didn't make it last week. But the theme is taking action. So last week we talked about analyzing what has happened so far in 2022 and getting ready to start planning. And we're not talking about planning for resolutions and high level fluffy goals. We're talking about actual things that make sense to what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. But first, we started off with analyzing what has happened, what worked, what didn't work. How did you get to where you are in the beginning of December? In January, we're talking about implementation and systems. So now that we broke down all of what happened, we talked about what your hopes are moving forward. Now we want to take what those hopes are and take them and turn them into tangible, actionable steps for the entire year, break it down to a quarter, and then you should have your monthly tasks and goals and eventually your KPIs to tell you where you are each month. And then we'll talk about some systems that'll help you get to that place. So for me, my theme as the entrepreneur in residence has been about your business finances and your accounting, but I speak a whole lot to who you are as an entrepreneur because I believe it starts with self. Even when it comes to saving, budgeting, scaling your business, if you personally have trauma around finances, then you're going to bleed, that's going to bleed into your business if you if you can't stand in the mirror and be honest about that and deal with some of those issues or deal with your childhood self around money and how money was being talked about. So my very first event, we talked about money scripts that's happening within our minds. But the good news is that we get to start over fresh with our businesses. So, it's not doomsday if you do have some struggles. So I speak to the specifics around accounting, but really my underlying theme is about who you are and what's going on inside. Because if you're running this business solo and you can't wait to have a team and all of the help and resources, I can promise you that if you're not ready for it, even when you get it, it's not going to work out as you plan. So the same thing happens when we talk about implementation and systems around your goals in general, and then more specifically to your financial goals. We don't have a shortage of information in this society today. You can Google anything.
Yeah.
I'm not too young that I don't remember going to the library and going through an index card to find a book to get the information that I need.
Right. Dewey Decimal System.
Right. And I'm still young enough to forget what that's like because I just go to my phone and Google random words that I know Google will give me what I need. So we don't have a shortage of information. Where we're struggling is in the application part. What's practical and what works for you. So we talked about strengths and limitations. I operate very well in organized chaos. I used to have on my resume years ago as a skill that I was great at multitasking. So I've thrived in these areas of chaotic, organize the thing, come up with the system. When it's in a system and clean, I get really bored and I'm not engaged. You have to understand how you operate to be effective and where you're trying to go and know what accountability parameters you need to set up. It's okay to be able to say, this is where I'm at. That's a part of the implementation. That's a part of systems. So when I speak to people one-on-one, when I speak through the events, we talk about like tactical things, but we really speak to the heart of it because my hope is that it'll actually change you and you're not going to walk away with another 5 pages of notes that you may or may not go back to. So that's what's happening at the library, at least while I'm in the seat until the end of January.
Right. I love all of this because, it has everything to do with, like you said, how you were raised, what your thoughts are about money, how you handle your personal business. And I think we get detached from that because a lot of people, didn't grow up getting the financial savvy. It's kind of like the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of folks just did not have that, those parents that were able to tell them. And that doesn't mean that your parents were bad. I mean, again, this is about what you're able to do with the skill set that you have,
Right.
But like you said, but alas, there's still help.
Yeah. And if you're Black and brown like we are, we're talking about, it's not that far from now that we just as a community didn't have access to a lot of the resources. So we're talking about 2 generations ago, just trying to survive. right?
Yeah.
So they're not raising from a place of abundance.
Yeah.
So we're not too far removed from that today. But thankfully, we have enough resources to do the inner work to work up against that and start to rewire some of the hardwiring that we got as children.
So the event on the 12th of January, is it both virtual and in person?
It's in person. We try to stream through Facebook. So the Richland County Library has a group for entrepreneurs and small businesses. So we'll put some resources there, but it's in person at the library at 6:00 p.m.
6:00, January 12th. And if you want more information, I guess people can go to the Richland County Public Library website. Can they start and register? It's absolutely free. And if you, as Star said, are a small or minority business and you need just some help, information, have questions, want to figure out, how to business strategy, profitability, like you said, scale quickly, and financial planning. This is part 2 of, like you said, a great series. But you said people can still gain a lot of information from the one next week, even if they didn't come to the one last week.
Yeah, I would just say to bring your goals. So already do the work around analyzing what worked, what didn't work for 2022. What were your goals and assess them. We already hit the deadline of 2022. It came and it's gone. So what happened, and be honest with that. And then already have a list of where you want to be by the end of this year. That way you can take that list and apply it to implementation methodology as well as systems. And to speak to one of the bigger issues I always see outside of commingling funds is not having the appropriate systems within your small business for your finances. So not even organizing things on the back end or even getting that started is a huge issue. And it becomes an issue that you really can't get away from. And the longer you wait, the more pain it's going to cause. And it could potentially cost you a lot of money, whether it's IRS tax payments going in or on the back end penalties or even just heartache. So we're talking about implementation and systems, not just for finances, but when we speak specifically to that, that's another big issue that I see, just not having your systems in place or something. I'm not a fan of composition notebooks for your accounting, but if that's what you resonate with, composition notebook it out, make sure you have it organized. Eventually you'll have to get to an online system, become friendly with Excel, or at least pay someone to be able to do it for you. But my biggest emphasis is have something. Have it organized, have it in one place, a manila folder or your Google Drive. One or the other could work very well for you. So folks like us, when we come into the space, I've spent a lot of time working in historical data, and we're going to need all of that information. Your tax accountant, whether it's an enrolled agent or a CPA, they're going to need that information. So the more organized that you are, even if you're not updating it, the better it'll be for you in the long run. So we talk a lot about that in the implementation and systems, but I wanted to add that in as well, Trey, around what's the big issue that we see commonly is just not keeping things organized or even establish some level of a system.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I know that when, a lot of the PPP money came out, that was a big problem for people that had been running legitimate, supposedly businesses for years. They didn't, on paper, they had no business, So I hope, if nothing else, that has motivated people to, as you said, even if you don't have it, 2 things you said were great. Even if it's a composition notebook, you need to have something. And if you can't do it, try to employ or get someone to do it for you, because you will come out better in the long run.
Yep.
Yeah. Starlitt Miller is with she's with Star Accounting and Business Solutions, and her brand new venture is Transity. She is the entrepreneur in residence at the Richland County Public Library. Go to the Richland County Public Library website, check it out, find out about the services that she offers for free through the library to you as a small and minority business owner. And then, as you said, there's a seminar, a workshop coming up next week on January 12th at 6:00 that you could still check out. So please, please, please get yourself together for 2023, because it's all about me in 2023, me and you too. And this is a great way to do just that. Starlitt, thank you so much for joining us today. You have been such a wealth of information. We thank you, appreciate you, and good luck, and God bless your new effort and your new venture, Transity.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Coming up, more Coping with Tre Tailor. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Judy Gatson. As a news anchor, wife, and mom, I know how important it is to take care of our health. Part of taking care of our health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is a serious health condition and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. It's estimated that more than 1.3 million South Carolinians have it, and up to 90% have no idea. Take a moment to visit inittogethersc.org to take an online test to find out your risk of prediabetes and how to join a diabetes prevention program that takes the guesswork out of losing weight, eating better, and being more active. You can learn new ways to stay healthy and sustain those changes over time. When you join, you'll even get support from a trained lifestyle coach to help you set and achieve realistic goals. Go to inittogethersc.org, brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Thank you so much for joining us for Coping with Tre Tailor. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwithtretailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. Javis Tax Services, Palmetto Media Connections, the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson, Agape Counseling and Training Services, Black Pages, Black Expo, the Comet Bus System, and Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. We also would love for you to be a guest on the show. If you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email booking@copingwithtretatailor.com. Booking@copingwithtretatailor.com. That information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We would love to feature you on the show because we're always coping with something. As always, we leave you with a great devotional. I'm reading back again from Jesus Calling. This says, when things seem to be going all wrong, stop and affirm your trust in me. Calmly bring these matters to me and leave them in my capable hands. Leave them there. Then simply do the next thing. Stay in touch with me through thankful, trusting prayers, resting in my sovereign control. Rejoice in me. Exult in the God of your salvation. As you trust in me, I make your feet like the feet of a deer. I enable you to walk, to make progress upon your high places of trouble, suffering, or responsibility. When things are going wrong, remember what is right. Jesus, he can do it for you. Thank you guys so much for joining us today for Coping with Tre Tailor. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Take care, stay well, God bless. And if you're going to be out and about with large crowds, especially inside, don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. I'll see you soon.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do, 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive